Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. I am super excited to share with you two absolutely delicious gluten-free and dairy-free sweetbread recipes. These are two recipes that I have fiddled with and experimented with probably like 50 times, and I feel like I finally have reached my desired result. These sweetbreads are so tasty. They're mildly sweet. They are incredibly moist for gluten-free bread, and yeah, they're just wonderful. So I am very excited to share them with you. The cool thing about them is that they have a lot of similar ingredients. One of them is a gluten-free, dairy-free pumpkin bread, and the other one is a gluten-free, dairy-free banana bread. And as I said, they have a lot of similarities, but I just change a few things up. It's nice because you just have a base set of ingredients and you can interchange with so many different things. You can make this a blueberry bread, you can make it a strawberry bread, like I'm doing here. I'm doing a banana bread and pumpkin bread. There's lots of different options where you could take this loaf, and so I am excited to share it with you today. First, I just start off by scooping out some coconut oil. It is winter where I am, and so the coconut oil hardens, so I have to scoop it out and melt it down to get 3/4 cup of melted coconut oil. Next, I put into a large mixing bowl 15 ounces of canned pumpkin, then I do 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon ground clove, and 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And I do 4 teaspoons of baking powder. I have found one of the little secrets to make gluten-free oat flour bread nice and moist is by adding applesauce. Applesauce adds a nice amount of sweetness to recipes, but the flavor is really not strong at all. You really cannot taste the applesauce at all in these recipes. It just adds extra moisture and sweetness, which I think is really beautiful. I canned some applesauce this fall, and so I'm using some of my homemade applesauce in this recipe. So I'm using about 3/4 cup of this homemade applesauce. Now I'm adding in that 3/4 cup of melted coconut oil. Just whisk that all together really well. And next I'm going to add 4 eggs. Again, just whisk it really well and make sure the eggs are fully incorporated. Next, I'm going to add my sweetener. In this recipe, I do 1 1/4 cup of sweetener. Here I used some organic sucanat, which is just very minimally processed and dehydrated cane sugar. And this is the last ingredient. I added 4 cups of that oat flour that I made. And just stir everything very well until it's fully incorporated. And another little tip that I have for making a really moist and delicious loaf of gluten-free, dairy-free bread that holds together and isn't like dry and incredibly crumbly is, especially with oat flour anyway, I have found it's really beneficial to mix all the ingredients together and then set it aside and let it sit for at least 20 to 30 minutes to hydrate the oats. And this just really helps bind everything together and helps it, just to not be dry and crumbly. A delicious addition to this pumpkin loaf is adding chocolate chips to the batter and sprinkling some on top. I also like to take some of the oats and just sprinkle them on top of the loaf. It's pretty, and this is basically just for aesthetics, but I think it looks really pretty, so I like to do it. These are the finished loaves. I actually didn't get any footage of cutting into them because I actually made these for my son's birthday. We were going to my in-laws' house for a family dinner and a little celebration for his birthday, and so we had to leave as soon as these came out of the oven. So this is all the footage I got of the finished product, but I think they look lovely and I hope you guys try them and I hope you enjoy. Alrighty, so this next loaf that I'm making is a gluten-free banana bread. I'm really happy with the way this recipe has turned out. As I said, I have tweaked this so many times and experimented with so many different ratios, and I think I finally have the perfect amount. Just about every week I make this loaf or the pumpkin loaf for our farmer that we get raw milk from. We trade a loaf of bread for a quart of raw cream, and it just makes me feel so happy and old-fashioned bartering goods with each other. So this recipe has really just been born from lots of experimentation, trying to come up with the perfect gluten-free bread recipe to give to my milk farmers. I start off by putting 3 large, very ripe bananas in a large mixing bowl. So I mashed the bananas up really well with a fork, and then to that I added 3/4 cup of applesauce. And then mixed that up really well, and to that added 4 eggs. Next up, gotta scoop out and melt down some coconut oil to get 3/4 cup of melted coconut oil. So to the bananas and eggs, I add that 3/4 cup of coconut oil. Whisking well again. Then to that I add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Then I add 1 teaspoon of salt. And this time around I put a cup of maple syrup in, but honestly you could do whatever type of sweetener you want. You could do cane sugar, you can do sucanat, you can do honey, you can do maple syrup. It's very flexible. I've tried both cane sugar and also a liquid sweetener like maple syrup. Both recipes turned out great, so you can use whichever one you like. Next up, I added 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Again, whisk well. There's a lot of whisking in this recipe. And this recipe takes 4 teaspoons of baking powder as well. Each of these recipes makes 2 loaves of bread, which is nice because if you don't need to right away, you can wrap one up really good, put it in a freezer bag, and throw it in the freezer to be able to pull out if you have last-minute company, or you can gift a loaf to a friend, or you can just eat 2 all by yourself. This recipe also takes 4 cups of that homemade oat flour that I made. So I do the same thing with this recipe. I mix it up really well, all the ingredients are all incorporated, and then I set it aside to let the oats hydrate. As you can see, the batter has gotten thicker, the oats are hydrated, and it is ready to be portioned into these parchment paper lined loaf pans. So I also like to use these Toll House allergen-free chocolate chips to add to the top of this banana bread. Who doesn't love a little chocolate? Alright, these are ready to pop in the oven. I bake them at 375 Fahrenheit for about 45 to 50 minutes. I would check it after 40 minutes, but you'll know it's done when you stick a toothpick or a butter knife in and it comes out clean. Alright, so that is the finished product, and aren't these just so beautiful? But I wish you guys could smell my kitchen right now. It smells so divine. This is a perfect loaf for if you're having a friend over for tea or for lunch or for brunch, or honestly just for a delicious afternoon snack or paired with coffee. The possibilities are endless, really. I hope you guys try these and let me know in the comments how you liked them.
The longer I've waited, the more that I've tried. All the years that I've wasted trying to find it. All that I go through for my peace of mind. Let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. Early blue morning, when everything's cold, I see you running, all covered in gold. There's nothing else that eases my soul. I let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind.
Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Greetings to you, whatever time of the day it is right now. It is currently early morning in my home, and I was just having my morning devotional. I started this book called A Praying Life. I was really blessed by what I read this morning, and so I wanted to share an excerpt with you guys at the end of chapter 8. This book is by Paul Miller. Here it says, "Your heart can become like a prayer factory because, like Jesus, you are completely dependent. You needed God 10 minutes ago, you need Him now. Instead of hunting for a perfect spiritual state to lift you above the chaos, pray in the chaos. As your heart or your circumstances generate problems, keep generating prayer. You will find that the chaos lessens." We see this pattern in Paul's advice to the Philippians about anxiety. "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." That's from Philippians 4, 6 through 7. If we pray, we will experience a peace that passes all understanding. When you pray continuously, moments when you are prone to anxiety can become invitations to drift into prayer. A traffic jam, a slight from a friend, or a pressured deadline can serve as a door to God. You'll find yourself turning off the car radio to be with your Father. You'll wake up at night and discover yourself praying. It will be like breathing. When you stop trying to control your life and instead allow your anxieties and problems to bring you to God in prayer, you shift from worry to watching. You watch God weave His pattern in the story of your life. Instead of trying to be out front, designing your life, you realize you are inside God's drama. As you wait, you begin to see Him work, and your life begins to sparkle with wonder. You are learning to trust again. I was just really blessed by that this morning. This week has felt hard, particularly in parenting, and I only have a 3-year-old, but motherhood has already stretched me in ways that I was never expecting, and has taught me things about myself that I never knew, which I am thankful for, even on the hard days, and even though I don't always feel it in the moment, I am thankful for the stretching and the refining, because it shows me who I really am, and it shows me my need for Jesus, and reading this book has just been so incredibly helpful because it's reminding me that I need to constantly be in prayer. My relationship with God and communication with Him through prayer is my lifeline because I cannot do this motherhood thing well without Him and His grace. So I just appreciated this line that says, as your heart or your circumstances generate problems, keep generating prayer. You will find that the chaos lessens. And it's so true. Yesterday felt overwhelming for a lot of different reasons. It was just a sequence of events that were kind of like building up and escalating to me just feeling like I was on the verge of tears multiple times. And I just decided, you know what, enough is enough. Like, my son was feeling miserable, I was feeling miserable, I could tell we were just feeding off of each other's energy, and I just thought to myself, enough is enough. We need Jesus in this house, we need Jesus in this room. And so I turned on worship music and just decided to pray and praise, and the tears came again, but it was no longer overwhelmed tears. It was tears of thanksgiving and joy for God and who He is and what He has done for me. And it just kind of helped shift the focus off of myself and onto God. And with that came such relief and joy. And Elliot started dancing, Jesse started dancing to the worship music. And it's just beautiful to see how, you know, we can get so caught up in our heads about things and we can be so overwhelmed. But when we give the situation to God and when we take it to Him in prayer and lay it at His feet and just surrender to Him, He can bring such peace and such relief and joy. We can experience such a radically different emotion than we were, you know, just 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes ago. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you today. If you're feeling overwhelmed in your life, whether you're a mom or not, I just hope and pray that you can be encouraged to go to the feet of Jesus, lay your worries and your burdens there, and truly open yourself up to His Spirit's presence, and you might just be amazed at how differently you feel. I hope you guys have a beautiful week or weekend whenever you're watching this, and praying that you are blessed. I really have been so blessed by a lot of your comments that you have left on my videos recently, and seeing the new subscribers pop up. It's just really, really fun, and I thank God for the growth, and I hope that we can be an encouragement to each other. And I'm just thankful for you guys taking the time to watch and comment and share such kind words with me. It really is an encouragement to my heart. So until next week, be blessed, and we'll see you later.